Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another speculation video. I may potentially end up spilling a bit of tea in this one. I know what some of you are probably thinking. Of course hotels were planned for island living, because every single expansion pack in the previous entries of the franchise with a tropical theme had hotels in them, so of course hotels were planned for island living. It wouldn't have been any different. But I found something in the game files that I haven't seen anybody talk about, and I do want to use that as a point for discussion as to the potential future of hotels appearing in The Sims 4, for real. So if you go into the Sims 4 folder, not under my documents, but under Origin Games, there's two different areas that store the files for each neighborhood in each world, in each pack. I came across this because in order to install lighting mods for the worlds that come with the DLC, you need to go into the Delta folder and replace the game files with the ones that the modders give you. But for the sake of just viewing these files, it doesn't matter which of these two you look at because the file names are going to be exactly the same. So the two different locations are Origin Games, The Sims 4, Delta, EP7, Worlds, Areas. The other one is Origin Games, The Sims 4, EP7, Worlds, Areas. Just like how there are 3 different neighborhoods in Sulani, there are 3 different files here. Local Island, Natural Island, and lastly, Resort Island? That's a pretty odd name. But if you compare these 3 names to the ones that we can see in the map, then we can easily kind of just find out which one represents which. So the first one I'll cross off is Natural Island. This has to be Mua Palam because this is the island with the cave and the waterfall and the volcano. Overall, the most natural looking place in Sulani. So I don't think there's any denying that that would be the place for that name. Local Island I think would have to be Ohanali Town, because this is the downtown core of Sulani. Local is still kind of a bit of a weird name, but I think it is meant to go with that. So now there's only one neighborhood left, Resort Island, which makes me think of Sonic R every time I mention it, but then it has to go with Lani St. Taz. This is what I consider to be the wealthy area of Sulani. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me that this would be the ideal place to put down some hotels if they had gone in a more touristic direction for island living. It is a pretty peaceful spot, so you don't need to worry about your tourists getting destroyed by volcanoes, and there's just much prettier beaches than what Ohanali Town has. So beachside resorts would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually the first neighborhood that they were working on. So I think this neighborhood overall could have worked as a resort area, but of course they didn't go in that direction. They went with a more eco-friendly sort of thing. The main career of this pack is to be a conservationist and help clean up the island and restore its natural beauty. Hotels are not really natural or eco-friendly, so thematically there's a bit of a clash going on. As upset as many people are that hotels were not included in island living, I think this is the reasoning EA and Maxis used to justify themselves in not including hotels with island living. I also think this would explain why island living feels pretty empty in comparison to a lot of expansion packs, and why many people feel that it's really more of a game pack. Because if they were going to include hotels, but then cut them, but didn't have enough time to include enough substantial content in its place, well, I think that would explain a lot. I still think hotels are very likely to come to The Sims 4 eventually though. With restaurants, they did get their own game pack, Dine Out. So I imagine with hotels, they'll get the very same treatment, though hopefully a much less glitchy one. So I think that is something that could potentially happen within the next year or two. However, it is also worth mentioning pack refreshes, since we did get the one for Spa Day pretty recently at the time of making this video, and there is quite a bit of demand for island living to get refreshed too, so I think this is another thing that could happen. but I still don't think hotels would be included within a refresh. I think it's still too big of an idea for that when you do have to like have the systems in place for Sims, both visiting the hotels if you're playing as a guest and if you want to run the hotel. Being able to get your nails done and make money off of wellness I think is pretty cool, but it's still not as big an idea as hotels. Also, if they really wanted to take the gameplay even farther, then maybe they could even include bed and breakfast so that you could run a guest accommodation from your residential lot instead of it being a venue every time. So overall, I think this is a pretty interesting find, where these internal files don't always match up with what's in the final game, but I guess in this particular case, it's potentially giving insight as to what could have happened with Island Living, because the name Resort it's just so specific. Like, that really seems like that could have been planned for the expansion pack at some point. But that's pretty much it for this video, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think hotels will come to The Sims 4? And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up more easily with my latest gaming content, including life simulations and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!